What's up, folks? Sean, the Average Angler, coming at you with another great video, and it's really hard to believe, but we're at the end of April, which means May is right around the corner, and it's time for our baits that actually work in May. Now, some of this is going to depend where you're at. I'm really kind of staging this on a time frame of where I live, and basically it means we're going to get into still some of the post spawn. So we've got some post spawn fish that have spawned 2-3 weeks ago, and possibly sooner, and we're going to probably have that continue for the next month or so, maybe more depending on the weather, because quite honestly, you see I'm wearing a sweatshirt. The weather really hasn't cooperated. With those things in mind, we're going to go into our typical May type pattern. We're going to talk about quite a few things, and as usual, following these up in the next week or so, week or two, I will go over a lot of these baits and give you ideas on where to throw them, what to look for, when I throw what, those kinds of things. I'll give you a brief today. We'll go a little more in depth throughout the next couple of weeks. Now, if you're new to the channel and you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button right down there. You know you want to join in. You're watching the videos all the time. You may as well join. It doesn't cost you anything. It really helps me out. May can be really tough on people. The fish can be in so many stages and doing so many different things, and if you don't approach it right, it can be very tough, okay? I've won more tournaments in May, I think, than any other month, and I'm guessing that's probably because I'm kind of a junk fisherman. I like to pattern fish, but it doesn't seem like I find the right pattern often enough. So for me, junk fishing is my comfort zone. I got 12, 14 rods on the deck with all kinds of different things. You think I'm lost, and I just switch and pick up what I think I need to throw where I'm at. So some of the things I really like to throw and I think is really fun with May, and this isn't a surprise, folks, we're still on the glide baits, and actually could be one of the better months for glide baits because those post spawners tend to suspend. And they suspend around grass typically. The grass is starting to grow this time of year, providing the sun's been out. So that is a S-Waver 168. That is in the California hitch pattern, by the way, for those wondering. This is one I don't know that I've showed or not. It's a Megabass Ayu Twitcher. It is a soft glide, okay? Very similar to that of the flag. Now, the reason I show you these are not as easy to get, and pretty much you either get them when they're dropped or you're buying off of eBay. The Ayu Twitcher is about $20 to $22, okay? I ordered them out of Japan. That's a whole nother story right now with the way things are going, but these soft baits you can do so much with, okay? You can twitch them, you can chop them, you can retrieve them fast, like burn them, and they through the water like a fleeing bait fish. So they're very, very effective, and for those fish that are suspended, don't really want to chase other things, that's one way you can trigger them. Now, one of my other favorites, and I just love throwing these because half the time there's no rhyme or reason, but it's a buzz bait, okay? This is one of my favorites. It's a double buzz. I believe it is a Persuader. There's one right there. Picasso, I'm sorry. It is a Picasso double buzz. Whoops, this one, okay? And typically I like to put a Horny toad on the back. Now, for a little more bare bones, this is a new one. I had some, I still have a bunch of the Buckeye lures, which I bought last year. Quite honestly, I didn't like the way they swam. I'm gonna have to work with them some more, but because of that, I bought this one. This is called the Scott Canterbury Pro Buzz by Dirty Jigs. And for those that don't know, Dirty Jigs and Nichols, same company. So yeah, Anyway, I have high hopes for this. Only time will tell. The other solution is cut the skirt off of a regular buzzbait, and there you go. All right, buzzbaits are a lot of fun to throw. You cover water with them. They get big bites. It's exciting, and yeah, you really can't go wrong when there's a buzzbait bite, boy. And pretty much from now through the fall, I will have a buzzbait tied on. Along with the buzzbait, for those of you that don't have a lot of grass or cover in your lakes, there's always the Choppo. Another great bait. I throw these in the same places. So I typically have a buzzbait tied on, and I will have a Choppo or a whopper plopper. I have a whopper plopper box also, folks. Sometimes, I don't know, it just seems like they'll eat one better than the other. So I will have one of those tied on. Again, a lot of fun. It's Topwater. They're easy to fish, chunk and wind. I generally will throw the Choppo on like a 7'6", medium heavy to heavy, something with a more moderate bend, and I will throw the buzzbaits on something like a 7'3" to 7'5", heavy, fast action. Okay, I don't want to mess around with it. There's no treble hooks on a buzzbait. There's no need to mess around and let that fish fight with you. All right, well, let's get into some plastics here while we're here, just so I can clear off my desk in a bit. Okay, so if you do have cover, now's a great time to start flipping, right? Flipping, pitching the cover, back in tules, grass, all that kind of stuff. I just grabbed a couple. There's a Missle baits. D-Bomb's a great one to use. The Berkley Havoc Pit Boss is another great one to use. I really like the Strike King Rage Bug. It's all personal preference, folks. I mean, whatever you like, some sort of craw style bait is typically where I go with it. Now, along those same types of lines, this is when this rig really kicks off. Okay, that's a swing head. Now, this particular one I like because it has a split ring there. It's the only one I've seen like it. And unfortunately, it was taken off the market. They're still for sale on eBay. They are made by owner. Simmons Sports is the one that sells them. I have bought hundreds of packs of them because I like the fact that I can change the hook. They come with a 5/0 Superline hook on it, and I can change it out, and I've changed them out all the way down to 3/0 for certain baits. When you want to put a smaller bait on there, you really overpower it with that 5/0 Superline hook. But one of the baits that's really good on that is the Xzone Adrenaline Craw, which is this guy here. Okay, he's got the kicking appendages. These kick really well. Again, you just chunk and wind. You need to mess around with cadences. You kind of want that bait hitting bottom, stirring it up. Sometimes they want it real slow, like as slow as you can possibly bear reeling. And other times you can move it at a decent clip. I wouldn't say fast, but you can just kind of keep it moving. Okay, I generally fish it on an 8-speed reel because a lot of times when they eat that swing head, they're coming at you. Okay, so you need to catch up. Before you swing and set the hook, reel into them, get that rod starting to load, then swing. Okay, all right. Here's another great bait for that rig, which is the Zoom Z Craw. Readily available, lots of colors, much like the Xzone. Both work very well. Take your pick, go out there. You want to throw them around rock. You want that head to be down there hitting and deflecting off of rock. It triggers the fish into biting. It's one of my favorite techniques. And it takes some time to learn, folks. That's why I tell people about it all the time. Not much comes of it because people lose confidence. Okay, along with that, we still are gonna have some fish spawning. And we've got those post spawners that are out there. And not all fish will suspend, depending on the type of lake you're in and where you're at in that lake. Clear Lake, I can think of many different scenarios. And depending on where you're at, you're gonna have to approach it differently. In areas that have ledges or drop-offs with rock, It's a great time to break out that 3/4 ounce jig. And on here, I have that full-size Rage Craw. This color happens to be plum crazy. It's a great color. Green pumpkin on top. It's got some purple flake down there. The jig, I believe, I will have to look it up. I believe it's a Z-Man Cross Eyes, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it's got this little plastic weed guard here. Don't worry about it, folks. This thing works great. I use this on spotted bass too, but it's got a good hook, works very well, and it gives a bigger meal. It is May, and the fish tend to spawn a little deeper also. So you could run into some bedfish with this, you could run into staging fish, and you could run into fish that are post-spawn and pulled back out to those areas to recover. So a jig, another great bait for May, aside from the bass spawning. We've had our first wave of bass spawning. Now we're getting into May, and depending on the water temperatures where you're at, you could start to see a shad spawn. Now with the shad spawn brings a whole mess of other things you need to be throwing or could be throwing. It's really that time of year where you can find a bite to go along with what you like to do. Now one of my favorites when that's going on, I'm trying to get out here without sticking my fingers, is the square bill. I like to throw the 2.5, but that's because where I fish at Clear Lake, they got pretty big shad, okay, up to 5-inch shad. This is nowhere near 5-inch, obviously, but I like the weight. I can make a long cast with it. I can throw it on a bigger rod, means I can use bigger test. What I found is that the white shad type colors generally get way more bites. That said, when I find them, I will always work through that group of fish with the Craw Red. Reason being is that I found I get my biggest bites on the red. Not as many. You might get one out of a group, maybe two, but those tend to be my bigger fish. The shad pattern crankbait tends to get those fish that are more, call it the schooly size. Okay, at Clear Lake, that's 3 to 4 pounders. You break out the red one, you catch a 7 or 8. Just something I've noticed over the years of fishing for bass. You know, we can't really go without having that good old Shakey Head. Again, for the same reason I just said, those fish can be in all 3 stages. And if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know this is my #1 rig for Shakey Heads. I just love the Z-Man Fatty Z. Hands down, the best Shakey Head worm on the market to me. Doesn't mean this is a one always that's gonna work. Sometimes they want something a little more downsized. Sometimes they want something longer, but all in all, that Fatty Z on a 1/4 ounce frenzy nail tends to do me very, very well. If I am switching up to the other type of worm, like one of the ones I really like is the Zoom Finesse worm, just a 5-inch regular old worm, right? I don't know, it works great. I really like to throw that one on the Bass Union Shakey Head. It's a weedless Shakey Head, super, super sharp hook. And they're made in the USA, folks, by my buddy Joseph Orozco. Shakey Head's always a good one. There's a whole bunch of other Shakey Head worms, folks. We're going to be doing some more Shakey Head worm testing coming up, by the way. I ordered some of the ones you guys have requested, so that is to come. A couple of other baits, depending on where you're at. Your topwater walking baits can be really, really good. I really like these Berkley cane walkers. If you haven't used them, they're very effective. This is one size. This is a 110. And there's the 125. Okay, a little bigger. If you're into the fancy stuff, the shower blows. Okay, these are about $5 more than the cane walker. I don't know. I'm not a tariff expert. These could go up. You don't know. I don't know anyway. But they're very, very good. I find that bite gets a little bit more steady as we get towards June, when the temperatures have gotten up, the water's up in the 70s, and it just gets some stability. Okay, some of the other things that still work, your underspins with your little 3 to 4 inch swim baits. As I've said, fish are always going to eat shad. I mean, that's their main forage in so many bodies of water. And then another one, because they're still spawning and post spawn and fry garters, is the stupid tube. The stupid tube just catches fish, dude. I'm telling you, the stupid tube is stupid. It gets bit so well, it's just stupid. Okay, works on highland reservoirs, natural bodies of water, rivers, creeks, you name it, ponds. They will eat the stupid tube on every single one of them. It's very easy to fish. As you see, the stupid tube is weedless. If you don't know about the stupid tube, just do a search on the stupid tube. There's plenty of videos to show you how to rig it, exactly what it is. You do have to buy a special rig to rig it up, but it's worth it. It's done me really, really well this spring. I expect it to continue doing very, very well for me. Bonus stuff. Still going along with the same old stuff, guys. This is the 6-inch Buka. It's the $30 one that they came out with this year. Trick shad. If you don't have or don't know about throwing glide baits, that's a really good one to buy. The size is very unobtrusive and it just gets bit. One other bait that I didn't pull out and talk about that I want to make sure I don't leave off. Here you go. Here's a Buka trick shad in the package. This color happens to be called Thread Fantastic. Okay. Glide baits, as I mentioned, are fantastic in the post spawn. So that one other bait, and I've talked about it for the pre-spawn and spawning fish, is the frog. The frog is last because it's very dependent upon where you're at this time of year. They'll start eating it everywhere in a matter of time, but right now you kind of need shallow water with cover. That's just not saying you can't get bit in other places, because there's always the outlier. For it to become a pattern, consistent, catch some that way, you just need grass. Grass is a big underlier. Again, post-spawn fish, something that's going to hold those post-spawn fish so that you can fish that bait over the top of them. I don't know if they want to eat it or if it's just irritating them so they attack it. But either way, I know it's a lot of fun. Throwing a frog is great, right? Who doesn't like throwing a frog, all right? That is May. And look, folks, yes, I miss stuff. Not because I don't know, but May, you can throw just about anything. Just about anything. And if you have grass, throw this baby with your swim bait, right? There's all kinds of different rigs. You really can't go wrong. This is a fun time of year, but pay attention to the body of water that you're fishing. Some places that spinner bait's going to work really well. Another bait that I didn't mention, but if you have that shad spawn, you got a lot of grass around, that square bill's may not be the best thing to pull through it, but the spinner bait might be great. When you have the shad spawn, the buzz bait could be something that's really, really good. The walking bait, I think you get my point. May is just a fantastic time to fish, but we got to pay attention to what the fish are doing and what's going on, because at one time or another, at a different body of water, right down the street, one of these things could be working, but it's not working at the other one. So, welcome to bass fishing. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.